Anybody?
So
How's the growth pod? How's the first check-in for the growth pod? Tina.
it's good. As a very new agent, actually, I got an opportunity to do an open house. Um, First time. That was my first time, and thankfully there were some people who showed up. So I loved having conversations with them and asking them what they were looking for, and but asking about the house and what they felt. So I think it was a great experience. I love talking to people. So it was, I think I would say that it went pretty smooth, considering I was meeting all the strangers for the first time, but I could have a conversation, and I think the whole thing went pretty nice. And I could get two people who could be potential buyers. One of them actually wanted to set up a buyer's consultation, which is great. So, and potentially the other one will also come back in March and they would like to do the same. So it was a good weekend, I would say.
Awesome. Well, congrats on that first open house. That's a big step. Was the open house what you thought it would be? Was it different? How was it compared to what you thought an open house would be like, hosting your first open house?
Yeah, well, it was it was what I was expecting, because I had seen the video, I was prepared, the questions I need to ask, the materials I need to be ready with, how to put up the signs. And I did not hesitate at all. Actually, I wanted to maximize it. I mean, I think I was kind of over preparing, and then I spoke to Sri, who's my mentor, and he said, hold on. I mean, this is what you need to focus on. This is what you don't need to focus on. And that was very good advice, I must say. So I think that helped me a lot.
Awesome. Well, good job on that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's get a couple more, guys. Positive focus. Actually, I want some feedback on the pods today, right? So you guys met with your groups last week, set some commitments, and then today was the day to check in on how you did on your commitments. So give me some feedback on how that went. How'd you guys do?
Oh, you were that with the Blanca?
Yeah.
She's always coaching us, and it's easy to kind of just say, like, hey, this is my plan for the week, and this is what I'm going to do. But she adds more to our plan that I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I should put it on my calendar. Like today, she suggested putting on our calendar, like, hey, every morning, have a little reminder on your phone, like cold calling or so on and so forth. And that's a good idea. I didn't think about that. I was just like, oh, I'm just going to, when I have time, I'm just going to wing it. But yeah, that was, shout out to Blanca for that one.
Right. Awesome. Good stuff. Survey, who hit their commitments for the week? Did anybody hit all their commitments, set their 3 commitments, 2 business, 1 personal, and hit them all? You hit just one? You missed one. Anybody else, guys, at home? Raise your hand if you hit all your commitments. So you had 3, right? So raise your hand if you hit 2 out of the 3.
I would say 2.
2 out of the 3. Okay. Raise your hand if you feel you need to maybe reassess how you set your weekly goals. Right? Because sometimes I was looking at your guys' groups, right? Some of you guys' commitments. Sometimes we're committing to things that aren't necessarily in our control, right? And I think I heard one of you guys talking about that, right? Like, get my buyer to submit their docs or something like that, right? That's not necessarily in our control, right? But what's in your control is following up with your buyer, right? But not getting them to actually take that step. And so I think when you're setting these, these short weekly goals, set something that's 100% in your control. Like, it's in your control to pick up the phone and make 100 calls or 50 calls, right? It's in your control to go to the gym 3 times or whatever, right? But it's not in your control for somebody else to take an action, So I think just making sure we're shaping our goals around those types of things so that you can have more long-term success, right? Did anybody recognize, because one of the questions was, what did you realize about yourself, right? What was the question? What did you realize if you hit your goal or not? What did you notice about yourself? I think that was one of the questions. Anybody have any feedback on that one?
I'll give some feedback.
Yeah.
The way I want our pods to be is what I said is just make it feel comfortable and casual, not so much like a rigid, commitment and whatnot. But I feel that they were very open on how they felt about not meeting the commitment and the adjustment they needed to make. And
Yeah.
it's just a little more of a reminder.
Mhm.
And it was very open and very relaxed and chill, which was nice. So
Yeah.
I feel that by us doing that, it just gives us some accountability.
Mhm.
And I'm also taking notes on me also being a little more proactive and checking in with them instead of waiting for the end of the week. I'm going to do every other day little nudges, little reminders,
Yeah.
just to keep everybody on track on their commitment.
Yeah.
So again, I want it to feel just friendly. We're here. Don't forget about your commitment, and also just a little reminder.
I love it. I love it. That's really, really
Not
good.
adding more stress.
Yeah,
right? It's a comfortable
exactly.
environment to go into.
And that's really what the point is, guys, of these pods, right? They're not meant to like make you right or wrong or anything like that. As you know, everything is feedback, right? There's no judgment. It's just data. Hey, did you do this? Did you not do this? What went wrong? What could you have done differently? And then that's where you got to make the adjustment, right? Because it's a marathon at the end of the day, right? You may have a great week where you smash all three, and you may have a week where some things got in the way, and that's okay. You know what I mean? So the point is consistency and progress and just continuing to grow, right? So I'm excited that you guys are taking further initiative to like customize your pod, right? Because that was the whole point. Like I just gave you guys a basic framework, but if you guys want to go further with it and everyone's on the same page, you know, reminders or anything like that, by all means, you make it your own, you know, make it fun. You know what I mean? Because the more people that buy in and they participate, the more successful it'll be in the long run. Good stuff, guys. So I think we have some of our ZHL reps here on the line. So we'll turn it over to you guys. So we're going to allocate a few minutes to them, you know, for them to introduce themselves and any announcements or updates that they want to share with us as well. So go ahead and take it away, AJ.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. I got some great faces and names here. I'll let them introduce themselves here in a moment. But again, guys, like, especially if you're on this call and you're taking Flex Connections, you know the importance of, you know, teeing up some good opportunities on the ZHL side, because that's how we're going to perform and win together, and getting a handful of pre-approvals with some great LOs. And I brought in some 3 fantastic ones here in today's call is going to be critical for the partnership to, you know, grow, succeed, and expand. So we are behind a little bit on our pre-approvals with ZHL. There's been a few of you on this call that have leaned in and gotten some great transfers over. I think primarily you guys have been working with like a Dan Emerson or a Ben Carney, which is great. But you got a lot of other great personalities and great experienced LOs, and 3 of them are in this call today. So I wanted you to meet them, because I got to, you know, remind you, when I meet with Jason and meet with Enrique and talk about your guys' team and individual performance, if I see us slipping in certain categories, or we're not teeing up good transfers and we're behind on our pre-approval metric, that's going to limit opportunities in the future. And I don't want that to get to a place where I'm like, hey, unfortunately, not only are we missing our transaction target, but we're just not really leaning into getting transfers over and getting pre-approvals with ZHL. And that is not kind of the vision of this integrated transaction. So hopefully today will, you know, spark some interest on, you know what? Yeah, like I wanted to meet some new faces, engage some LOs into your guys' team huddles like this every once in a while. And hopefully we can start getting, you know, more transfers and more pre-approvals. So without further ado, let me just introduce Hamilton, Paul, Tracy. Hamilton, if you want to start, kind of just share your story a little bit, not super long, but just, you know, your backstory, of where you're located, experience, and just something most people, you know, don't know about you.
Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hamilton Don Mello. I currently live, born and raised in San Diego, California. So if you guys ever been out this way, reside in Little Italy area, love where I live, love the city life of San Diego. A little bit about my background in real estate. I've been a mortgage loan officer for about 11 years now. I come from the broker world, so independent, you know, probably self-employed for the past, you know, call it 10 years. So I understand, you know, I had to go hunt to go get my deals. I had to talk to CPAs, real estate agents, and just build connections within the community and things like that. Mostly done loans only in California, done some loans out of state, things like that. I do have my real estate license as well too. Got that about like 6 years ago. So I do some things here in San Diego. I got it because of friends and family and things like that. But I really enjoy doing loans, and that's kind of like what I've been doing consistently. A little bit more background within real estate, got into some personal stuff, you know, because I love real estate, got into real estate development. So doing some things here in San Diego, with ADU laws and things like that. And so I'm that guy. Talk to all my friends, telling them they got to get into real estate, because I tell them that's my 401k. I don't have a 401k. So real estate is the 401k. So I'm a big champion to tell people to buy their first home or buy investment properties. Okay. So I breathe and sleep real estate, right? And so what do you do on your free time? Is real estate, right? Or, I go out to restaurants, like to travel here and there, but real estate is my true passion. And I'll get a little bit too about the relationship that we have here with Zillow, and why we're all here is, I think the number one reason is, and I won't be too much longer here, but is about the lead volume, right? All of our clients go to Zillow, right? And so we have a great opportunity here, with this partnership that we have. And that's one of the reasons why I came over, is with the technology and how fast we can get approvals out is probably the number one reason why I'm here. And then also the CRM, it keeps surprising me. Each week it gets better and better and better, because the important part is our communication back and forth, right? And so we can kind of expand on that a little bit later, but those are kind of the benefits. Besides, talking about rates and things like that, it's a long process. A lot of these buyers are first-time home buyers, and so communication is going to be key. And so I guess I'll kind of end it with that, and we can kind of get into some other things later.
No, that was perfect. I appreciate that. And just to double click on that, I think, what we could get into today, and maybe it's not the right time, or we'll see kind of how this all shakes out, because I want to be respectful of your guys' team huddle. This is kind of on the agents to own, like the ownership should be on the agent in terms of at least offering an option for, some of these 3 LOs to have a tee up and have an opportunity to get a soft credit pull, and thus a pre-approval. And it's up to the LO to obviously go and, of course, win that business and to get that funded loan to take place. But I think what Hamilton spoke on, which was good to hear, was like that relationship and that communication needs to be like on point, and like best practices on when to tee it up and how to bring up that conversation. We can talk about, later in a few minutes, but communication is going to be crucial in order for this to work on both sides, for sure. Paul, do you want to just pop in and say hello and introduce yourself, kind of just similar to what Hamilton just did?
Absolutely, but I don't know if I can beat anything that Hamilton said. But good afternoon again, everyone. I'm excited to be here to meet everybody. I think there was a couple of names here I recognized, but a little bit about me. I've been here at Zillow Home Loans for about a year now. I'm based here in the Irvine, California office. I do have about 20 years of experience in the mortgage industry. So during that time, I've had an opportunity to do some different things, not only as a loan agent. I've been a loan processor. I've done reverse mortgages, loan modifications. Just like Hamilton, I also have a real estate license that I've had since 1991. One of the things that I enjoy as a loan officer is working with first-time homebuyers, because I know that buying a home can be an overwhelming experience, especially for first-time homebuyers. So for me, I get a little bit of satisfaction from walking them through the process, explaining the details. I really do want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel good about the home buying experience, so that when they finally close on their new home, it's a positive transaction for them. A little bit about me outside of work. I enjoy traveling. I like to play golf. I like to cook, spend time with family and friends. I actually grew up in the Palm Springs area, just south of Palm Springs, in a town called Indio, California. But I do know the San Jose area a little bit, where you guys are. I actually lived up north for a while. I lived in Pleasanton, and I worked in San Jose, so I did a little bit of a commute, but I do know the area a little bit. I think that's pretty much it for me. I really do hope I have the opportunity to work with some of you in the future. Hopefully we can build some long-term relationships together. I thank you for having me here today. With that, I turn it back over to AJ. I'm going to put my contact information here in the chat. So if anybody has anything they're working on, anything that any questions, or you want to reach out to me and have a quick chat, I'm available. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, good call out. Contact information. Hopefully we can throw that in the chat for Hamilton, Paul, and now Tracy. So that way you guys can stay in touch, ask more questions, even if it's not on today's call. Like if you want to just talk to them on offline, one-on-one, I think that would be something that can help spark a relationship. We're all in that relationship business. And then again, use me to help, solidify any other things or issues you're running into, bridge. I can just help bridge the gap. If you're struggling with getting a buyer transferred over to, let's say, a Paul or Tracy or Hamilton or whoever else you have a great relationship with. Now I wanted you guys to also know, like, who the heck do I go to or turn to if I'm having issues with trying to get someone pre-approved with ZHL, because you're telling me I'm missing my target or our team is struggling. I need help. Like, contact me, contact some of these LOs, get with Enrique and Jason. They'll call me. They have my cell phone. If they don't, I'll make sure they give it or get it for me. And then really quick, while Paul and Hamilton are putting their info in the chat, I'll also put my email in the chat as well, so you guys have my info. Tracy, if you're there, I don't really use Meet much, so I don't know where you're at, but feel free to pop in.
I'm here. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having us today. I'm also San Diego, California, born and raised. I'm located in the Redding area now, and grew up in a small beach town called Imperial Beach, California. It's gotten a lot bigger these days, but still pretty small. I've been in lending since 2016. I started my career with Bank of America Home Loans as a junior loan officer. I just recently got off of a break. I took a couple of years off to get my business management degree. So my experience and specialty has always been with first-time home buyers. I often give community workshops. The area that I live in, there is a little bit of lack of education. So those tend to be really popular and very helpful for my business. I'm very easygoing, very communicative. As far as the Zillow portion, I don't think I can add anything that Hamilton and Paul have not already said. So I'll definitely leave it at that. But yeah, I'm here for you. Y yo hablo español también. Gracias.
There we go.
That's
We
awesome.
need a Spanish speaker.
How about this? I mean, if you don't mind, why don't I open it up to the team? Like, do you guys have any questions or wins or, struggles? And we can be honest with each other. Like, what's working, what's not? What are you looking for or need to see more of from us at Zillow and LOs specifically? And then we can flip the script also and ask, like, LOs in this call today, you haven't met this team. Like, what are some maybe tips or best practices that you would look for on an agent level? So let's start with the agents. Feel free to speak up. Don't be shy, be brave. What questions do you have for this group, or what have you been finding? Good.
I guess I'll ask a question too. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No. How long you guys been with Zillow, the partnership? How, if anybody can answer?
It's been what, over 3 years?
3 years.
Oh, okay.
3 years, yeah.
Okay. So okay. So you guys can probably teach us a little bit about some of the things that you've been going through and things like that. So any struggles in the past couple of months?
What are struggles, guys? What are we running into? What are some of the struggles that we're seeing when it comes to the Zillow
Let's keep it
clients, or
within
even just clients?
keep it within ZHL. Like, what are you finding? What's working? What's not? Like, what are you struggling with getting transfers over? Yeah, Rika. Sorry.
I'll be very brutal honest. So the thing is that many of them are on the basic level, like they have no information of loan or anything. So instead of us always going and educating them, I think it's fair ask that we directly connect to you guys and you educate them. I mean, the feedback I have got sometimes in past is, are they 100% ready to talk to the lender, and where are they? I mean, close to when they are closing or they have finalized the home, and that does not happen always. It takes months and months of work.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Richa. You guys are experts in real estate. We're supposed to be the experts in loans. So I agree with you. That's what we'll have that conversation with them. But the thing that helps us out as agents is, information, anything you can provide on a personal level, because we have to get personal with them. the first thing we don't want to do when we talk to them is, hey, what's your social security number? We want to know a little bit about them, right? So anything you can tell us about them on a personal level. They have a dog. That's why they're looking for a yard. Oh, hey, I can talk to them about that. Hey, I have a dog too. That'd be great to have a yard. Tell me how big of a yard are you looking for? So it's just those little things. And Reach, I know that you and I have a lead together, and I'm trying to remember which one it was, but yeah, it's those personal things. And just to touch on what Hamilton was saying, that, you know, asking about, you know, what's been working, what's not working, and yeah, I want to know too, what are the hurdles that you're having, or what is it that you're looking for in a transfer? What kind of things are you looking for in an agent that would have you consistently transferring leads to them? So that's kind of the feedback that we need to know. Thank you.
Matt, go ahead.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, I'm getting new tires at a tire shop, so it's a little loud, but I'll do my best. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on one thing that did not work this past holiday season. I don't need to say any names, but we were working with a buyer on a home, and they had to switch from conventional to FHA. And in the middle of, I think we had like 5 days left on the loan contingency, the Zillow home loan officer went on PTO, okay? And then that file or that transfer, that handoff wasn't performed at all. So we're down to like the last 2 days trying to figure out, hey, like, what's the status on, you know, the FHA side for this loan? And it basically just kind of fell through. So, you know, is sort of, you know, at least from our side, what can we do to improve that process, you know, communication across the board between, you know, Zillow and our team?
I don't know. I don't know. Is that something, AJ, you want to address? But can I ask you a question, Matthew? Did that loan ultimately close?
No.
It did. It did not. Okay.
So to provide a little bit more detail, our buyers weren't informed that the spouse credit needed to be ran, right?
Yeah.
And they were a little upset about that, and then they backed out. So it was just like a little bit of a sloppy handoff, and people weren't informed of the right details.
Okay. Yeah, and I think too, because going from conventional to FHA, the debt, is going to be used. And sometimes when you switch the programs there, you open other doors, and sometimes you close other doors, but you open other doors. But it's unfortunate on those. But what we try to do too in the beginning is understand that, look, we have to get an application on both parties and understand what's going to be the best option for them. And I think what happened here is the person going on the PTO, you know, didn't, you know, maybe give him a heads up, and it took maybe a couple of days before he got to an LO. And then by then, you know, like you said, your buyers backed out. I know, and AJ could probably speak on this, they did implement some new procedures now when, like, even on Saturday now, if like you're not available, so you're not on the drop down menu and things like that. And so I know that they've been really stressing that, probably because of some of the experience that you handled. So I think they are tackling that, understanding when people are working and not working. Personally, for me, again, I've been self-employed for 11 years. And so with the PTO, I've never really had a vacation where I wasn't doing a loan, always doing something. So from my experience, I'm just used to doing that. And so I guess that's what I'll just leave it to that.
Yeah. And I'll kind of wrap that up. I think, Matt, thanks for sharing. I mean, that's kind of been your, you know, it sounds like maybe like your one experience with ZHL, and that's not a great one. So that could have hindered, like, you know what, man, I'm going to kind of just work with my go-to guy. Like, I get that. And I appreciate you for speaking up. You know, I think what I'll try to do moving forward is maybe provide insight and clarity into, like, all right, you have a designated team of ZHL LOs. You got 3 of them in here right now. Maybe every week I will send an email out to Jason and Enrique on those LOs schedules, so we know exactly who will be available for the coming week or weekend. So you know exactly, like, all right, who, if I want to transfer someone over, who should I or who should I not select. But again, I think they are tackling, to Hamilton's point, the fact that we're just removing them from even being an option in the drop down if they're not going to be available. So I apologize for that communication that wasn't clear back during the holiday season. Yeah, that's not fun if you're trying to get a hold of someone that you transferred to and they just start ghosting you. So we're trying to clean that up every time.
Awesome. Thanks for the feedback.
For sure.
Another idea I'm even thinking, this is something we'd have to think through. Would it make sense to create like to add you guys to our Slack? Because we use Slack to communicate with our whole team. Would it make sense to create a Slack channel just for the ZHL loan officers? This way there's like a lot faster, response. I don't know. That's something we could talk about.
Up to them. Yeah. I don't know if, yeah. Tracy, Paul, Hamilton, are you guys able to do that? Do you want to do that?
I don't know if that's even an option, because I know that communication is through FUB. That's the way everything's been set up now. So I don't, again, Slack on your side, I don't know if that's even an option. I think it's a great idea. Yeah. I don't know if it's an option though.
If it's an option, I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if it's just for like getting a hold of each other and then obviously taking that particular client's communication to FUB, but just for like, instead of texting, you know what I mean? We have you guys all three on a group kind of chat.
Worst case, you could throw me I'm in a few other like WhatsApps with some of my teams in like the Bay, and even Sacramento, not Slack. We use Slack internally at Zillow actually. So I think that would work. So yeah, worst case, you could throw me into like your group text or WhatsApp or Slack. And if you're struggling with a transfer, getting a hold of an LO, you could just blow me up and then I can internally get a hold of Paul, Tracy, or Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That might be a good idea. Maybe just adding you, AJ.
Yeah, I like that idea. I'm good with that. Some other thing that I heard this morning from a team in the Bay, because they're bought into the vision, the partnership. They're utilizing, their LOs, a part of ZHL at a high level. They're funding a lot of loans together. They're just exceeding their targets by a landslide. So I was kind of asking them like really briefly, like, what are you doing? Like if there's like a quick 10-second best practice that you're doing with your agents to tee up these transfers, is there anything specific? They're like, one quick thing off the top of my head, and I'll have the LOs speak to this as well. Like they say when they go and meet a buyer in person, at a property or at their office or what have you, they actually inform the LO that they like working with in ZHL ahead of time, saying, hey, I'm about to go meet a buyer tomorrow at like 5 p.m. Do you mind or are able to block off a window of time between like 5:30 and 6 p.m.? That's where I plan to call you, put you on speakerphone, have you introduce yourself if you haven't already, schedule an appointment to then take those next steps. It works like a charm for that team and a few other teams in the Bay, where they're just getting like really good, clean tee-ups, transfers. The LO is on speaker, introducing themselves, talking next steps, scheduling an appointment. The agent says, I'll actually join you on that appointment. So like the trust and just the seamless experience is happening, and that team is just crushing their goals. So again, just something that stood out to me. I don't know how the LOs on this call feel about that or how the agents would, but it's working. So just a call out there.
Great idea.
Yeah. Anyone else got questions, feedbacks, thoughts? Yeah, for the LOs in the room.
Anyone else? Questions, comments, feedback?
And or Tracy, Paul, and Hamilton, anything you're seeing out, in the market around San Jose or just anywhere in California? Like, what are you seeing out there?
It's a hot market. I mean, obviously anywhere in California, everybody always asks, I know it's a real estate agent's question, but I get questions all the time. Hey, is this a good time to buy a home? In my opinion, any time is a great time to buy a home. If you're looking, then there's a house out there for you. So, regardless of what rates are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just add some. I think what I'm noticing too is that, a lot of these buyers are first-time home buyers, right? And so what I'm seeing too is we're getting them approved, but let's just say their payment's going up $1,800 or $2,000 from what they're paying for rent right now, right? And so, but they're approved. So financially, they can, purchase a home, but they start to get cold feet because like, am I sure my payment's going to go up and things like that? And so we kind of have to stay in touch with our clients, and because they call us for a reason, right? They know at the end of the day, it's going to be better to buy than continue to rent. You're going to have to buy. It's kind of, there's different ways I can explain it to these clients that you kind of have to bite the bullet one of these days and purchase a house, commit to that payment, but also know that you're building equity, right? And so a lot of times these conversations are happening after you get them pre-approved, right? Maybe it's the third week because, you're saying, hey, they're not really motivated anymore. You can kind of see it kind of drops off, right? And so what I do too is, we kind of make sure that we follow up every week. Sometimes that's too much, then we'll push it to every 2 weeks. But that communication between me and you'll let us know, what we need to do. There's other examples of where I asked them to maybe go talk to their accountant or CPA because they can get a deduction, right? And so sometimes it's not really a $1,800 difference. Maybe it's only $1,100, right? Because if they calculate what they're going to get back, again, I let the professionals tell them, but giving them options so that way they can stay motivated. So I just wanted to use that as an example of things that I do.
Yeah, it's awesome. Richa, you have a question?
I have a question regarding, do you guys have any product like I saw Wells Fargo has an offering a 10,000K, and that's like an hook for the clients to go and talk to them and connect. And that 10,000K is on the combined income of both, if there is a couple, 500K under. First time home buyer, I don't know, but it's for everyone. I don't know that, but they are giving that 10K. So that's kind of an motivation for clients to just jump and have a call with the lenders.
So it's like a credit or something.
Any
right?
product that you can give it to us so that we say, hey, these guys are providing this. Can you just go and connect and learn more about it?
So the programs that we can offer, I mean, we do have, first time home buyer programs, that could mean different things to different people, right? Because sometimes they think that that's like a down payment assistant program. But what we offer, I think, is the relationship is obviously with the Zillow, the technology and how fast we can close. And obviously we're very competitive. But as far as any incentives, as far as and we also pay for the appraisal, right? Which could be huge as well too. But we don't offer any other incentives, for our clients at this time.
Yeah, but obviously when you structure the deal, you guys can structure it where, depending on the rate and stuff, where there's credits towards their closing costs or something.
Seller credits, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think all they're doing is advertising it that way, probably, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to be built into the rate, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's packaging.
I mean,
they're
they're a bank. They could be using wholesale rebates to give them an incentive, but they're going to have to pump up the rate to get that incentive to give it back to the borrower.
So what I'm trying to say, just do you guys have something that we agents can use to in front of our clients and say, hey, go and talk to the Zillow lenders. Why and how are they different from Wells Fargo, US Bank, or any other thing? So just trying to understand if you guys have the product. I'm not saying that you have to have just exact same product, just anything that catches their attention.
Or even any
Just tell
marketing
them,
material.
Yeah,
Totally.
just tell them to call Paul McKay. He's the nicest guy in the whole world,
Yeah.
and that's it. Or Hamilton, or Tracy.
Well, I really had a good experience with you, Paul. I know you quickly responded to me on the 2 dates, so I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
No, good call out though. In terms of marketing material, like a one pager on what we offer, what the benefits are, like what we're waiving with appraisal, like all those just things that you can just put in front of them. I think, I can definitely send that over to Jason and Enrique, and they can forward it out to the team for sure.
Yeah, because when we meet with these clients, we meet them, we bring a packet out there, right? So if we had some sort of marketing material in there, it's all in how you package it and how you present it, right? So they see the value. So I think that would be helpful.
Yeah.
We can add that to what we're already giving.
Yeah, and they tend to obviously trust your guys' direction. So we even, as a best practice, don't really even tell agents and my teams, I don't say to even use the word or acronym ZHL. Like, introduce them as a person, as a colleague, as a peer, as a member of someone that you trust and have done business with. I mean, that's the idea. It's someone that you've built a relationship with. So first off, build a relationship with any of these LOs or someone that you've done business with. Like, get to know them. So that way, when you're transferring, like, they're trusting who you're transferring, not just some other robot. It's a human that you've done some interactions with. Not just, I need to connect you over to ZHL, Zillow Home Loans, because I need to get some pre-approvals. Like, obviously, no. Like, we're not leading with that.
Yeah.
But we do need to. No. No, this is all really good.
Understood.
This is all good, communication that I wanted to have today. I don't want to keep any of the LOs if they have to run. Also hang around for a little bit, Enrique or Jason, if that's okay, because I have a few other things I want to talk about with the team. But before I let the LOs jump, any other last items that you guys want to just ask them, or vice versa?
I think
Paul or
we're
Hampton?
good. Yeah, we still have some stuff we have to finish on our meeting because we had allocated till 12:30. So
Yeah, sorry.
for your portion. So if you want to connect after, we'll be wrapped up around 1, and then we can connect with you after that.
Yeah. All good. I'll let you guys get back to your guys' team huddle. We'll jump out and then we might reconvene. If I meet with the group again soon, we'll get that scheduled. If not, I might just talk with Enrique and Jason offline. So.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
All
you,
right, guys, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Good meeting you guys.
See you guys. Talk to you soon.
All right. Appreciate your guys' patience. I don't want them to hijack the rest of the meeting. All right, guys, we got a couple more minutes. Let's wrap up. But just to address that, right? I mean, obviously he's doing his job. You know what I mean? He came on last week, so I am grateful that he showed up. He's delivering on what he said. Hey, I'm going to get my LOs more involved. They know they dropped the ball on some things, right? And so, but we got to continue to play the game. You know what I mean? Like, this is part of our requirement to continue to participate in the Zillow preferred program. So we do need to play the game, right? We got to obviously convert these buyers into deals, and we got to send them over pre-approvals.
Yeah, and just to kind of expand on that, is that I also asked him for him personally to join our meeting at least once a month. And then also you guys, sometimes you guys have questions about like the technology or something that's going on. You can always email him directly, right? He's open to that.
Yeah.
Because it's a quicker response, right? You guys go through me or Enrique, then I got to go through him, and then he has to go through his people, right? So I know Asif is really good at that. Asif is all over him, guys. So if you guys have like a concern or an issue and you want to resolve it right away, you have his email. You can shoot him an email, obviously CC myself and Enrique, but you'll get a faster response.
Yeah.
Right. So definitely utilize that. He seems, a little more hands-on and open to doing that. He's, he gave me a cell phone number. He's willing to jump on with us, which I think is important because, again, for me, there's a lot of metrics and data for me to look at. This is what he does day in, day out. So if I can get him on as a guest once a month and go over that with you guys, I think it's definitely beneficial. So we know which direction we need to go in and what areas we need to fix and work towards.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got to look at it as a tool, right? These are tools, right? We have multiple lender options, right? That's what clients ultimately want, right? If we're trying to do the best thing for the client, we want to give them options, right? And we want to find the person that they connect with the most, right? Great. We want Alliance to do as many deals as possible, but Alliance is not always the best solution, right? For that particular client. That's why there's a lot of different banks out there. So I figure the more people that we can have, right? If you have a go-to guy at Alliance, you have a go-to guy at ZHL, maybe you have another person that you work with, and now your client has different options. And sometimes personalities as well. I like that lady spoke Spanish, right? Because I think that's a hole in what they offer as well. And so now we have a Spanish-speaking person at ZHL, right? And so I think if overall, guys, if we buy into what they're trying to do, it's only going to help us grow and help us become more successful. Yeah, it's an extra tool, right? I like that AJ's involved. I mean, he's trying to help us perform, and the more we perform, the more money we all make, the more clients we get to serve, right?
And on the deal side, guys, we have 3 deals so far. 2 of them are sellers and 1 is a buyer.
Yeah.
And George is gonna be getting one in, I think, like tomorrow or Thursday.
Yep, exactly. Vina, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, well, I'm not in the situation right now, but if one loan officer is not doing the job the way we expect them to do, is it possible to switch during the course of the whole transaction?
I mean, that's going to be that's going to be a decision that the client would have to make, right? But if you're already in contract and they're already doing the loan, you typically don't want to switch right in the middle of the contract of the escrow, because that can cause delays. But when they're trying to get pre-approved and they're shopping around for different lenders who they want to work with before they get in contract, definitely they can talk to different lenders and choose the one that they feel is best for them, right? But once you're in contract, it can cause delays and complications if you try to switch in the middle of the deal, right? Because then they're having to start the loan all over again. That can delay the close of escrow. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a couple things to go over, guys. I want to just kind of wrap up some of the last parts of our meeting. I'm just going to kind of jump to some of the stuff here. So inventory real quick. I just wanted to give you guys an update on where that's at. Let me pull this up. I mean, it's climbing, guys. It's going up, right, over the last couple of weeks. So last week we're at 851 on single families. This week we're at 917. Townhouses went up from 700 to 748. So the inventory is continuing to go up. We've signed some listings within the last week or two. Number of pendings also is going up. It went from 474 to 537, 327 to 336, right? So I'm reminding you guys of this just to, reiterate that the market is heating up more right now, right? And, with that being said, this is when we have to go back to basics, right? So what I really wanted to focus on today was just reminding you guys of really what are the things that we need to focus on. And when we talk about back to basics, it's going to be our calls, our conversations, and our appointments set and met, right? And so as you guys are evaluating how you're doing during the week, really those are the things that matter the most, right? Are you getting in front of people? Are you talking to people? Are you getting in front of them? And are you meeting with people and moving them forward, right? Whatever metric you want to focus on, if it's number of calls, at the end of the day, it's how many people you got in front of, right? So what I want to do is just even get back to like the leaderboard. In the past, we would look at this leaderboard just to see what you guys are doing from FUB. But we can look here and guys can kind of see where you're at for this last week, right? How many appointments you set, how many people you had conversations with, how many calls you made, and so forth, all right? And just kind of seeing where you ended up.
You're not sharing.
Sorry, let me, wasn't sharing. Thanks. And so what I want you guys to just pay attention to, right, is the activity that I see up here, right? Is that a true representation of the activity that I'm doing, right? Because some of you guys may be making calls, but you're not making them in FUB. That's the other thing too. So if you're not making them in FUB, you're not getting credit for your work. So I do want to remind everybody and encourage everybody, do everything through Follow Up Boss, right? Because if you do everything through one centralized system, you're able to track it, you're able to measure it, and you're able to make those adjustments, right? If you're making a lot of calls, but you're not booking appointments, what should you be focusing on right there? I made 200 calls, but I booked 0 appointments, right? If you had to troubleshoot that, what would you guys say? Scripts, right? And so we got to look at number one. Am I making the amount of calls that I should, right? That's the first step, right? Am I spending time picking up the phone, following up with my people? My cold, my warm, my nurtures, my hot ones, right? Number two, if I am making a lot of calls, am I saying the right things, right? Because maybe I'm talking to people, but I'm not able to convert them and push them forward. So then that's when you would want to spend some time training, role playing, right? Picking a partner, coming to us. If you need some more practice, coming in here for the call sessions that we do on Tuesday, because we do training during those times, right? If you are meeting with people, but you're not moving them forward to signing a buyer broker agreement or signing a listing agreement, then we got to look at, well, what is my approach, right? Do I have my buyer presentation down? Do I have my listing presentation down? Am I preparing the right way? Am I saying the right things when I'm actually in front of people, right? So I want to get us just back to thinking basics, right? Us looking at our business and what do we need to focus on, right? And so by a show of hands, I just want to get a little quick survey. Who thinks they need to make more calls? Like, hey, I'm not making enough calls. Okay, everybody.
And Enrique, I think a good stat to show, I mean, just so, again, so we can see what, we have our ISAs that are making calls.
Yeah.
So if you pull up the ISAs, guys, we can see how many appointments they've set within the last 30 days. So we know that there's opportunity in our system here. And I want us to also understand that the ISAs, they're not as skilled as my loan officer, or I'm sorry, my real estate agent, right? So I also want you guys to understand, if we put in that type of effort, you guys will see some results, especially because you guys have a bucket of opportunity where people are actually raising their hand, and people are actually looking, and that you may have some type of relationship with. So we just got to pick up the phone and start making those calls.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm looking at the ISAs within the last 30 days, and we're looking at, on average, they're booking about 40 appointments within the last 40 days. And I don't know,
Yeah, so this is the last 30 days, right? You see 45 appointments, 38 appointments, 38,
and they're calling
28,
the same
27.
leads, guys, right? And again, not saying they're not skilled, obviously this is where they're dedicated to doing, but what I'm looking at as real estate, as the real estate is, there's opportunity sitting in your guys' pipeline.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. I mean, even if we wanted to do the math, right? This is a cool thing to look at. 20,000 calls, because I was going over this with my with the ISAs when I'm doing training, right? 20,000 calls collectively led to 180 appointments, roughly, right? So if we just do the math, how many calls does it take to book one appointment, right? And keep in mind, they're calling like the pond. They're not necessarily people they have a relationship with. These are more cold. They're more follow-ups, right? People that maybe have inquired 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. But if we just do 180, or we would do 20,000 calls, 180 divided by 20,000, just 1%, just under 1%, right? So how many calls would it take to book one appointment? It's about 111 calls, right? To book one appointment. And that's calling cold leads, right? Now, if you have people that you're nurturing, you're not going to be calling as many, right? Once you build a pipeline. So this is something we can look at. If you're just starting out with us and you're calling a lot of cold leads, you're going to have to make a lot of calls to book appointments and start building that pipeline. If you've already been here and you have a lot of leads in your pipeline that you've been nurturing over time, that number could probably even be cut in half, right? Because they already know you. There's already some sort of relationship being built. Conversations to appointments, right? 422 conversations led to 180 appointments. Conversations meaning it lasted more than 2 minutes in the system. So if I take 422 divided by 181, that means every 2 to 3 good conversations gets one appointment, right? So it's important you guys know that.
And
right?
guys, the other thing I want to emphasize is that they're doing a triple tap. So each one of our ISA, so that number of calls looks a lot higher, right? Because they're calling the same person minimum 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I want to really emphasize, because that number does look larger, right? When you do that 20,000 calls.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they call 20,000 different people, right? They called some of those same people 3 times.
Yeah. So even if we take that number and divide it by 3, right? 20,000 divided by 3, that means they called about 6,700 individual people. They just called them 3 times. Because if they don't answer, they hang up, they call right back. If they don't answer, they hang up, they call right back.
And we, just so you guys know, we can track that. We look at how many dials, so we can pull up their call log and we'll see that they called John Smith 3 times.
Yeah.
Right. You guys can do that for yourself as well.
And so that's that. If I take that number, that's about 40, calling 40 different people 3 times each led to an appointment, right? And the good thing is that because we have this data, like they're making so many calls, we can see the trends, right? If you wanted to make it easier, just to boil it down to conversations to appointments, it's about 3 good conversations for 1 appointment. So now you go to how many appointments do I want to book per week, right? How many appointments do I need to book per week to meet the number of people I need to meet to convert the number of deals I want to convert, right? And so if you want to book, let's say 4 appointments a week, you need to have 3 conversations times 4. You need to be having at least 12 good conversations a week to book 4 appointments, right? Now, are all those 4 going to show up? Maybe not, right? You know, but so we might need to pump that number up more, right? It might need to be 15 conversations, 18 conversations, 15 to 20 conversations a week. So if you want to have a solid pipeline where you're meeting with 2 or 3 new people every week for showings, consultations, and stuff like that, you're probably having to have 15 to 20 good conversations on the phone. And so that's up to you, right? Like if that takes you 200 calls, if that takes you 100 calls, that doesn't matter. But the whole point is, am I talking to people and am I having good conversations to move them forward, right? And so I want you guys to be aware of this, because when we talk about go back to basics, everyone knows like, oh yeah, go back to basics, start making calls. But I want you guys to take a step further to figure out what is my actual target, right? Because if John wants to get 3 in contract this month and George wants to get only 1, those numbers might look different, right? And that's okay. Everyone's on their individual plan. So you got to figure out what's your plan and what's my benchmark every single week. And then we could even take this a step further. We have our growth pods where we're choosing a weekly accountability goal. What if you made that part of your accountability goal? Like, hey, this week I need to have 10 conversations tracked in FUB that last over 2 minutes, or I need to have 15 because I know that's going to lead to appointments. That's going to lead to consults. That's going to lead to escrows, right? And so everything's math, guys. That's why I want you guys to start thinking like business owners, right? Everything's math. I want you to understand your numbers, understand your metrics, because that's what you can scale, right?
Yeah, the other thing, I mean, I don't know if you want to just, I know we only have a few minutes, but maybe expand a little bit, Enrique, because some of the ISAs are setting appointments from some of our agents.
Yes.
Right. So I want to, if you know, really quickly go over some of the best practice for, let's say Blanca, Abby sets an appointment for Blanca. Well, I mean, I have an idea of what I like to do, Enrique, but if you want to kind of expand that, maybe I can add to it.
Yeah, well, let's talk about what we're observing, right? I think that what we're observing is we know the ISAs are creating an opportunity for some of us. What we're observing is sometimes that call doesn't show up, right? That's one thing. Like they book a call, the person agreed to talk to an agent tomorrow at 2 p.m. The agent calls them, they don't show up, they don't answer. That's one thing we're observing. Another thing we're observing is the agent never called them. So sometimes it's on the client, sometimes it's on the agent.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you had a call booked at 2 that the ISA set you up with, and then we look and there was no call logged, right? And so what we're trying to do is attack it from both sides, right? So now what we're training our ISAs to do is every single morning, they're confirming the appointment. So if they book an appointment for tomorrow at 2, before they start making calls in the morning, they're dedicating their first 30, 40 minutes to just call all the appointments and confirm. Hey, just want to confirm you're going to talk to Blanca at 2 o'clock today. I want to make sure that's still a good time, right? She'll be calling you at this number to talk about, X, Y, and Z. Oh, no, you have to reschedule? Okay, what's a better time? So now we're catching it ahead of time, and then they could send a message to Blanca. Hey, Blanca, your 2 o'clock call confirmed with John Smith, right? Or your 2 o'clock call said he has to reschedule. Can you call him tomorrow at 4? Something like that. So that's how we're attacking that side of it, right? But now what we need to do is go a step further and make sure the agent's actually following through on that call, right? And so Jason is going to be auditing that list, and then our ISAs are even auditing that list as well. They're looking, okay, the call was set at 2. Did Blanca call that person at 2? Or were they able to connect? Or maybe Blanca called 3 times, they didn't answer. So now the ISA knows, call that client back, try to reschedule that appointment, right? And so those are some of the things that we're doing, right? Now, if I have a call set for 2 o'clock today, right, just as an example, what I would be doing is number one is we know the triple tap works. So if I call that client, they don't answer, I'm hanging up, I'm calling back. If they don't answer, I'm hanging up, I'm calling back. I'm doing a triple tap.
And then it's all logged into follow-up,
Yeah.
right?
It's all logged in follow up. So that's the first step, guys. If you have an appointment being set for you, make sure you are triple tapping that call, and it's all done through follow up, boss. So now we know, okay, it wasn't the agent, it was the client. The client's not responding. If they don't respond, right, I could send a text message, or even better, I would send a video message. Right? Video is going to go a lot further, right? Hey, it's Enrique. We set up a call today to talk about you buying a home in San Jose. I want to introduce myself. Want to see if it's still a good time to talk, blah, blah, blah. Here's my contact info. Want to put a face to the name. Now it goes from like this random person that just called me from an online site to now it's an actual human, and I see who that person is on the other side, right? I think if you guys do something like that, where that's part of your protocol is to send a quick 20-second video message, that's going to help our conversion go up, right? It creates a human to human connection.
We're not a call center, right?
Yeah.
We got to really separate that. We're a real people. We're not a call center. I think that's a great way of doing it. The other thing that I recommend doing is before you have that appointment, listen to that previous call. Be prepared. This is something I've done.
Yep.
Enrique sets me up appointments for the hello day. So I want to understand my audience. So I'll listen to that call so that I'm well prepared to have an understanding of their background. And then so now you can move that call along a lot faster and give more value, right?
Like that.
You can reconfirm. When you reconfirm information you already know with a potential buyer or seller, you gain their confidence. Their guard drops, right? And they open up to you because you have something familiar to connect with. So I highly recommend doing that. Not just like, oh shit, I got to call it too, just winging it, right? Remember, this could be a possible $2 million transaction. So being well prepared by listening to that call is going to help you tremendously to build that rapport.
Yeah, and Jason and I are kind of playing around with the idea to really just beef up our ISA department even more, to get to a point in the future where they're just booking so many appointments for you guys, and you guys are just trained on how to handle that appointment and really close it. Obviously, there's going to still be some, calls required from everybody to follow up with their pipeline, but it would be great if we got to a point where like half of your appointments are being set by somebody else, right? Who would like that, to just have appointments flooding their inbox, right? We all would, right? But in order for that to work, people need to be trained and people need to follow the process as well, right? Like we got to see some proof of concept. Right now, we're kind of ramping this thing up, but we got to start seeing some results from these things, right? Because if we start seeing results and we're getting closings and deals in contract from the ISAs, and now there's revenue coming in, then we can go and reinvest back into more ISAs, right? And so that's kind of our thought process for the long run, right? And I think we can get there probably later in the year, but we need to start where we're at right now.
And for the people that want to receive those opportunities, I know we're going over time, but for
Yeah.
the people that want to receive those opportunities, make sure you're well trained. What does that mean? That means you can show property, you can know a buyer presentation, you can close on your own, right? You don't need to bring in another agent to help you. So if you're one of those agents, like, you know what, I want those opportunities, well, then you need, unfortunately, the path is you got to make these calls, because by you making these calls in the beginning, that builds your talk track with real estate. We're not trying to create everyone to be a telemarketer, but we want you to be strong in being able to have that talk track. So when you get that opportunity, you can maneuver. But if you're out there, you want to receive these opportunities, be able to show homes, be able to do a buyer presentation, and be able to close on your own.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're able to do that, we have opportunity for you, because our senior agents, a lot of them are being paused right now. A lot of them want to be paused on Zillow. A lot of them are not receiving these opportunities because they're too overwhelmed.
They're busy.
Right? They're busy, which is a good thing, right? They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I want to make sure people understand that there is tremendous room for growth wherever you're at within our team.
Yeah.
Right. So take advantage of that and put yourself out there. I love when I hear some of our new agents immediately going out there doing open houses, immediately going out there showing homes. Right. You guys are taking the initiative to continue to do that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's all we got, guys, for the agenda today. Appreciate you guys' patience. Let's get after it, guys. Right now, the market's heating up right now. Right now is the freaking opportunity, even though it's raining, right? This week's kind of sucks with the rain. But guys, people are buying, people are selling. You see the numbers, the stats, the deals are going pending, right? The rates are competitive right now, right? More than they've ever been, right? And so my question to you, and we'll end with this, is what are you going to do with the environment that we're in right now, right? We have an environment where the market's heating up. We have an environment where we have leads, we have appointments being set, we have a great culture here, right? We have training, we have resources, we have mentors. What are you going to do with that, right? Are you going to go all in? Are you going to take advantage of it? Or are you just kind of not appreciate really what you have at your fingertips? It's all perspective, guys, right? We've had agents come and go, and some agents are like, man, we have so much stuff here. And then some agents are like, I'm not participating in any of the stuff you guys have. That's not a good thing, right? If you're on our team and you're not plugging into all the things that we offer, the leads, the coaching, the training, the meetings, the environment, you're missing all the stuff, right? You have all the bells and whistles and you're not using it, right? That's like having the Mercedes with the heated seats and you never turn the heated seats on, right? Trust me, I didn't have heated seats in my freaking Jeep before, right? And now that I have them in the truck, those bad boys are on all the time, right? And I'm like, dude, you start to appreciate it, right? But you guys have the heated seats here, right? Are you pushing the button? That's my question to you, right? It's there, guys, and we see it. We see some people really capitalizing on it. We see some people that are just playing around. You know what I mean? So I want to see everybody win, guys. We're here to support you guys. We're here to push you guys, encourage you, create a fun atmosphere. Let's go, guys. Let's do it, guys. Let's clap it up. Yeah. That's all I got today. Thank you, guys. Fired up. I was tired, guys, but you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I got home, our flight got delayed. I didn't go to bed till like almost 2 a.m., right? And I woke up and I was like, maybe I'll just take the meeting from home, blah, blah, blah. Jason's here, right? And I was thinking this, I was battling with myself, and I was like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm like, dude, like, it's rain, the rain and all that stuff. I was like, it's warm in the house. I was like, fuck that. I gotta be in the office, dude. I'm like, I'm not missing a Tuesday meeting if I don't have to miss a Tuesday meeting. Because I figure like that sets the tone for the week, you know what I mean? And so, and then seeing all you guys show up today, we had a great, amount of people show up here in person and online. Like, I'm fired up, guys. You know what I mean? I'm not tired no more. I'm just going off adrenaline, right? So let's get it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.